All right, so we left off in class talking about sexual selection, and you guys have looked at this PowerPoint in class for part of your notes. I just want to take this time to review it a little bit. So, quickly, natural selection is what we've been talking about for a while. And what that is it's when you have nature selecting for which traits are going to be passed on. All right, so we talked about how an environment looks controls which traits are going to be able to survive. So, whichever organism has an advantage, which we call a beneficial adaptation, that organism is going to be able to survive in that environment. So up here, we talked about Darwin's finches. This finch here is best fit for an environment with very large seeds, something that it's able to eat. This finch right here is best fit for an environment that has smaller seeds, like fruit or berries. Now, sexual selection is a special case of natural selection, right? And it is nature selecting, but it's now talking more about how the organism looks, specifically how a male looks. So, sexual selection is all about the ability of an organism to get a mate or obtain a mate, all right? And then once they have that mate, they can then produce offspring. And you'll notice that most of the physical changes, pretty much all of them, occur only in males. So you'll see that in one species, a male will be brightly colored. It'll have special characteristics that make it stand out to the females, all right? Big antlers, it'll have big feathers, and we'll talk about some examples, and you guys did see some in class. And what these distinctions are in males, they're called sexual dimorphisms. So, like I said earlier, color, weapons, the songs for birds. So, you guys know birds have songs that attract each other. Those are part of sexual dimorphisms. And this picture right here, you can see a male beetle versus a female beetle. The male has these very large weapons, it looks like, on the top of its head. Those are going to be used for competition or anything like that, all to try to get a mate. Now, the whole deal here is that the females are running the show, okay? The females are what are going to choose whether or not that male meets its standards, all right? Whether they are attracted to that male. Do the sexual dimorphisms that male have attract the female? All right, so the bigger the antlers, the better. All right, the bigger the feathers, the better. The more bright colors, the better. Now, peacocks is a common example. And you guys, if you look at this picture, you can see the male peacock has this large array of feathers right here, all right, and a very brightly colored body. This is the female peacock, all right? Some of you guys may have seen them, some of us may not have. The males clearly are brighter, all right? They are showing that sexual dimorphism. And so they have brightly colored feathers. The females are gray and they're not as large, right? They don't have these feathers, all right? But the females are going to be attracted to the males because they have these bright colors and bright feathers. But one thing that's interesting about the peacocks is, so if we're talking about natural selection, it's always the best fit to survive in that environment is what's going to pass on their traits and then survive. So in this situation, the males actually are at a disadvantage when it comes to outrunning predators. Those feathers are very heavy, all right? They're big, they're heavy. They're not going to be moving as quickly as males who have smaller feathers. But consistently, we are seeing these males with these large feathers in the environment, and it's because of sexual selection. So even though they are not the most fit for the environment, they are the birds that are going to be attracting the mates, all right? And then those are the ones who are going to be passing on their genes. The uglier peacocks, male peacocks, are not going to get chosen for a mate, so then their genes are not going to get passed on. And remember, evolution is about surviving and passing on your traits. So this sexual dimorphism that this peacock has is a big deal. It allows it to pass on its traits. You'll see another example is cardinals, all right? Most of us, when we think of cardinals, we see these red, bright birds. Those are the males. The females are a little bit red. You'll see it on the wings right here and a little bit on the top of their heads, but they are gray, all right? And they are going to be attracted to the cardinals, the male cardinals that are red. Weapons is another example, all right? You'll see this in deer. I'm sure we've all seen these running around where we live. The females do not have antlers, the males have antlers, okay? And they use those antlers to help them compete for mates against other males in the species, all right? So they not only need to compete for food and everything, but they're competing for mates. And we'll talk about competition and all this stuff in our next unit. Elephant seals is another cool example, I think. The males are much larger. You can see in this picture here, here's the male, all right, and the female here looks a lot smaller, all right, and so the males are much larger and they have very distinct noses. If you can see, that's kind of how they got their name, the elephant seal. They have like a trunk-like structure in the middle of their faces, all right, that's going to be their nose. And the males are so large because they compete with other males to try to get mates, all right, it's kind of the same situation as it was for the deer. So let's do a quick comparison here. So natural selection, it produces individuals that are well fit or adapted for the environment, all right? The ones that are most fit pass on their traits, and then they are the ones who are surviving. So like we said earlier, in one of our examples in class, the fastest gazelles are going to be the ones that are going to survive, and then they're going to produce more fast gazelles. Now, in sexual selection, it focuses only on mating success. It focuses only on reproduction. So these individuals are not necessarily fit for their environment, but they're still being chosen to pass on their traits. So you're still going to see those traits in the environment. So like I said with the peacocks, those individuals the male individuals who have these heavy feathers, they're not necessarily most fit for the environment. They're not going to be outrunning predators, but they are consistently seen generation after generation because it is sexual selection. They're being selected for the way that they look, their attractiveness to a female, all right? And they both compare to each other because they're both dealing with a form of selection, all right? They're either select best fit for their environment or they're selected for their looks for mating, all right? But either way, selection is deciding what genes get passed on to the next generation. So that's pretty much my review on sexual selection. I'm going to be posting some more information about that on Google Classroom. Just keep looking for it, and I'll keep posting more videos. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you soon.